Is Zach Lavine an all-time Chicago Bulls player? Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Bulls podcast. My name is Corey. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. If you've already hit that subscribe button, shout outs to you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's get straight into it. So, Zach Lavine spent a total of 8 seasons with the Chicago Bulls, okay? He ranks first in three-pointers made in the Chicago Bulls history, which is a great achievement for him. He's 6th all-time in total points scored for the Chicago Bulls, which is fantastic as well. He's 3rd all-time in point-per-game average. And during his time with the Bulls, Zach Lavine averaged 24 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 4.3 assists, which are pretty solid numbers. So he's 3rd all-time in regards to points per game. Okay, so looking at Zach Lavine, fantastic player. I think he could have had an even greater career with the Chicago Bulls, and I think that what he's currently doing, he can be doing even better. But we'll get to that on the back half of this episode here. So make sure you guys stay tuned in. Okay. So first and foremost, Zach Lavine, coming off a solid career in Minnesota, unfortunately he ends up tearing his ACL, which a lot of players, not just in basketball, but a lot of players just in sports period, don't recover from that. They never turn back into the player that they used to be. But in Zach Lavine's case, which is really rare, his production went up. Say what you will about him, but his production went up. Okay, so that first season, of course, you give him grace. So, and that first season back, from the ACL tear that he had, let me see, how many points did Zach Lavine average that year? 17 points per game. Okay, so that's a little bit down from what he was averaging in Minnesota the year prior, which was 18 points. Okay, but then when you look at his numbers in the following seasons, okay, so his first season with the Bulls, 17 points per game. Okay, then 19 points per game, then 20, then I'm sorry, I'm getting this backwards here, you guys. Sorry about that. So he went from 17 points per game, okay? Then he went to 23 points per game, 25, 27, 24, 25 points per game, 19 points per game. He took a dip in 2024. He was dealing with some injuries and things like that. And then 24 points per game before the Chicago Bulls ended up trading Zach Lavine to the Sacramento Kings. So, in my opinion, to tear your ACL and you still end up averaging 27 points, some years later, hey, that's a great feat. A lot of players don't come back and do that. A lot of players are still great players, but they're kind of just a shell of themselves. But in Zach Lavine's case, same athleticism, still one of the more athletic players in the whole entire NBA. So, hey, shout outs to Zach Lavine for that. So, just continuing here. Now, in the 2020 season, when Zach Lavine was on the Bulls, he had that was the season where the All-Star game was in Chicago at the United Center. We had Jim Boylan as the coach, and just a lot of things were just going haywire. That was just a disastrous season. That was a perfect opportunity for the Bulls to put themselves on the map. I believe that we had Lauri Markkanen on the team back then. I believe Lauri Markkanen was still on the team. Maybe Wendell Carter was still on the team as well, if I'm not mistaken. And that was the Bulls had a great opportunity, to prove to the world that, hey, at least we're a solid team, or we're up and coming team, or whatever. But it was just a disastrous season. First time that the All-Star game was in Chicago since, what was that, 88, I believe. Just the perfect opportunity, over 30 years that the NBA All-Star game wasn't in Chicago, and in 2020 it finally came to Chicago. No Bulls players on the All-Star team whatsoever. Zach Lavine refused to be in the dunk contest. Just a big disappointment for All-Star weekend when it comes to Chicago Bulls players in 2020. So we saw, and then what made it even worse, Zach Lavine, he was on video doing a 360 from the free throw line, doing a bounce between the leg dunks, just all types of stuff on the video, and we like, oh man, he would have definitely won that dunk contest if he got into that 2020 dunk contest, but for whatever his reasons were, Zach Lavine refused to participate in the 2020 NBA Slam Dunk Contest. So, great player while he was on the Bulls. I think that the only thing with Zach Lavine that stood out, great offensive player. He'll get you 4 to 5 assists per game, 4 to 5 rebounds per game. He's pretty much the same stats, year after year. Just the only difference was you saw his points fluctuate, go up, go a little bit down, but for the most part, they stayed pretty steady. Now, the only knock against Zach Lavine, which I never understood it, because I believe that he could have been an even greater player. The only thing that really stands out with Zach Lavine, okay, the only thing with him is that his whole entire 8 years with the Chicago Bulls, okay, his winning record with the Chicago Bulls is 174 wins, 242 losses, so that's well below even winning half the games, okay? And I know that's been a knock on Zach Lavine for pretty much his whole career, unfortunately. There wasn't much winning going on in Minnesota. He came to the Bulls. We had a few solid seasons. We had that one season when it was DeMar DeRozan's first year on the Bulls, and the Bulls won X amount of games and made it to the playoffs. But it's the 6th seed. But that's the most wins that we had, since we had Zach Lavine on the team. So it's not really a good thing when it comes to wins, when it comes to success of the team. And unfortunately, that reputation has followed Zach Lavine. I mean, even with the Sacramento Kings to a certain extent. I don't think the Sacramento Kings are probably never going to make the play-in in the Western Conference this year. That's just my take. But let me know what you guys think about that. Feel free to chime in. Okay, so his whole entire 8 years with the Bulls, again, I give him credit. 2 All-Star appearances. That's great. All-time all-time three-pointers made with the Chicago Bulls. That's fantastic as well. One playoff game, literally one game, because the play-in doesn't count or whatever. Literally one game won in a playoff series against the Milwaukee Bucks. What was that back in? I forgot what year that was, but y'all, maybe you guys remember. But one win against the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, so that was the only knock against Zach Lavine. I always felt like he had to just get into that different mode. You know what I'm saying? But he never seemed to really get into it. I mean, even to this day, I think that if Zach Lavine, if he really wanted to, I think he could easily average 30 points per game. And I think what was really telling with Zach Lavine was when DeMar DeRozan came to the team. Fantastic player as well. DeMar DeRozan, at that time, he was making less money than Zach Lavine. Zach Lavine was on a max contract, if I'm not mistaken, with the Bulls. And in the back of my mind, I remember when DeMar DeRozan came, I'm like, okay. Because even then, Zach Lavine, he was kind of like the unofficial leader of the team, if you want to say that, because he really didn't really portray himself as the leader of the team. At least that's what you see, on the TV and on highlights and things like that. I mean, I don't know what goes on in the locker room and all of that, But he didn't really portray himself as like the leader of the team. He seemed to kind of not really want that role. But at the same time, his potential, his athleticism, his shooting ability, his dribble and things like that, just a silky smooth player. One of the most athletic players, not only in the NBA, but in NBA history, And it just seems like he just, in a way, just didn't want that leadership role. That's just what it seemed like to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Maybe you guys agree with that. Maybe you don't. Yeah, when DeMar DeRozan came over, I was kind of wondering, like, hey, I wonder how this is going to affect Zach Lavine, because he already kind of seems like he doesn't really want that position to just be the leader of the team. So when I saw DeMar DeRozan just taking over the games, which was great, hitting game-winning shots and getting to the mid-range and stuff like that, and getting the Bulls to a lot of wins, I'm like, man, I don't know about Zach Lavine, man. As the leader of the squad, because how do you just let somebody else come in? DeMar DeRozan, fantastic player, but how do you just let him come in and just take over the team? He getting us wins, which is great. A win is a win, right? That's what it's about, is winning the game, right? But at the same time, it really seemed like, we had DeMar DeRozan here for 3 years, I believe. So it really seemed like DeMar DeRozan was the leader of the team. He's taking the young people under his wing. He's taking them out, training them and stuff like that. And maybe Zach Lavine was doing that. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not in the locker room and stuff like that. I don't know. I only know what happens on the surface, on TV, on YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, when I saw DeMar do that, I'm like, man, Zach, man, I hope that he can, step up his leadership role, because based on what I see, he doesn't really seem to want that role, So I think that those are the only 2 knocks against Zach Lavine, is his lack of winning, I guess you would say, when he was with the Bulls and even with the Minnesota Timberwolves and even with the Sacramento Kings now. I mean, I hope they have a good season, but I kind of doubt it. And then also just his lack of winning and his lack of being that true leader for the team, because that's what the Bulls were paying him. The Bulls were paying him max money to be the leader of the team, you know. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'm looking forward to seeing the Bulls make a tribute to Zach Lavine. I think that he's definitely very deserving. I know it wasn't a lot of winning going on, especially not in the playoffs or in the play-in when he was here, but fantastic player. I think he is one of the most skilled Chicago Bulls players in the history of the franchise. That is what I believe. I don't know where I would rank him as far as what number or whatever. I mean, you've got Jordan, you've got Pippen, you've got D Rose. You've got a lot of other great Chicago Bulls players: Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, Jimmy Butler. I don't know where I would put Zach Lavine. I know he's not low, but I wouldn't put him like top 10. I don't know if I would even put him top 15. You know, and that's no diss to Zach Lavine. It's just that we've had so many great players over the years. So I don't know what number to put him at. Maybe you guys do. Maybe it's like in the 15 to 20 range, 20 to 25 range. Best Chicago Bulls players ever. I don't know. I know I'm making a video about it, but I don't exactly know where I would put Zach Lavine at in regards to his numerical ranking for an all-time Chicago Bulls player. So maybe you guys do. You have an opinion. You have a perspective or whatever. Feel free to chime in. Let me know where you guys rank him at. Maybe it's in that top 20, top 25, top 30 Bulls players ever. I think it's probably more so in that. I would probably say 20 to 25 range in regards to his offensive skill set. Okay. If we're just talking just that alone and athleticism and things like that, I would say he's top 20, 25, maybe between 15 and 20. That's just me, just off the top of my head, without really delving into it and really getting too deep about it. But let me know what you guys think. I'm looking forward to the Bulls making a tribute to Zach Lavine. I think that he's very deserving of it. Let's see what they do. Let's see what the Bulls do against the Sacramento Kings. I think that this is a game that the Bulls should win. Like I keep saying in all of my videos. So you can scroll through the rest of my videos on here and see that I've been saying this for some time now. The three main factors for the Chicago Bulls' success this year: defense, beat the teams you're supposed to beat, protect home court when you're in Chicago at the United Center. Those three things right there. Okay, so the Sacramento Kings definitely fall into that number 2 slot. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat, because I kind of feel like the Sacramento Kings, they're kind of directionless at this point. I don't know what their goal is. They have a lot of talented players on their team. They just added Westbrook a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know exactly what the Sacramento Kings are doing. So I think that this should be a very winnable game for the Bulls, and it's in Chicago too at the United Center. So that's just more reason that the Bulls should win this game and start their season off 4-0. The one concern that I have about this game, though, for the Chicago Bulls, which I'm slightly concerned about it, but because of Zach Lavine's nature, you know, you think that he's going to just have that killer mentality, like I believe that he has the potential to unlock even now. I know he's starting to get older. He's, 30, 31 or something like that. But, you know, you would think he's going to come in with that killer mentality possibly. Like, okay, they traded me. They didn't want me no more. They wanted to start a new direction. All right, I'm about to come in and drop 50 on them. I'm about to get on a fast break, do a 360 or between the legs or something, something like that. But I don't know. I don't think that's how he thinks. I know that he has the ability to do that if he wanted to. So that's where I kind of pump the brakes at. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm just thinking in my mind. I think a lot of Bulls fans are thinking that, like, dang, okay, man, this is the one. This is the one game where Zach Lavine returns to Chicago. He's gonna get revenge. He's gonna drop 50 on us. You know, I can see DeMar DeRozan doing something like that, but Zach Lavine, I don't know, because he just never really seem to want to have that killer instinct, that killer mentality like that. You know what I'm saying? He never really seemed to really want to care for that, you know. So that's why I'm saying that I think that at the end of the day, the Bulls are going to end up being 4-0 after they play the Sacramento Kings here. So let me know what you guys think. I think it's going to be a great return game for Zach Lavine and things like that. I think that the Chicago United in the crowd is going to show him a lot of love and things like that. And I think he definitely is deserving of that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I will reply to your comment if you make a comment, okay? Again, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel. If you are already subscribed, I believe I have 23 subscribers now. Shout outs to all 23 of you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for rocking with me. Thank you guys for tuning in to Let's Talk Bulls podcast. My name is Corey. Stay tuned for more episodes like this. Peace out.